Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast, episode 104, here from the G4 Claims studio. I'm Ryan Fitzsimons, and I am sad. It's a sad day, boys. We're going to get into it. Ryan, you don't seem very sad.
I'm trying to look more alive today because there was concerning comments in the comments section last time.
I've seen a few comments.
I thought I was going to get a welfare check in Coatbridge, man, I swear to God. But contrary to popular belief, it seems, in the comment section, I am alive and well. I was just a bit tired last week.
There was a comment last week that really got me giggling, and I'll try and look for it.
About mean shots?
No, there was just something.
Why are you looking down there?
Oh, well, I mean, who was it? Do you remember their name? This is your time to address them.
Wasn't interested.
Anyway, while I look for this comment that gave me a laugh, the man in the middle, it's Ryan McGinlay back again. Ryan, how are you doing, son?
Everything apart from football is good at the moment. Working away. Unfortunately, my job entails talking about this team.
Yes.
So that's not been as good just now. But apart from that, pretty good. Can't complain about much apart from the aforementioned football.
I mean, there's a few. McGinlay looks like he's dead inside. Looked soulless ever since he became an expert mouthpiece. Yes.
Expert mouthpiece, thank you very
McGinlay
much.
really is like a young Andy Walker. That was one that made me giggle. And finally, the last one, did McGinlay get his eyebrows done?
Did I? I'll get it in the barbers, like the wee shave of the eyebrows in the barbers, but I won't get them
very fancy,
plucked or that or anything.
Tinted.
Maybe I will for you guys next episode, I don't know.
And then to the left of Ryan McGinlay, he's back from his week sabbatical, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kieran. Kieran, how are you?
It's good to be back. I mean, as McGinlay said, everything, well, I would normally say everything in life apart from Celtic's good, but uni is starting to become a bit of a bastard.
Ramping up the heat on you.
I've got so much due, so little time.
So little time. I mean, what is it's 22nd of February as we record. When's your final due date?
11th of April for the dissertation.
Wow. That's going to fly in, by the way. Because I don't know about yous, right? And this is off top. Do you know what? Honestly, the longer we talk about other things in Celtic, the better this podcast will probably be. But I don't know about yous at the minute. I feel like life is passing me by at a great speed. I can't believe it's Thursday again already. Like it's the weekend tomorrow. Like what's going on? I don't know if you feel like this.
I feel like that every single day, honestly. And I don't know if it's ever since I turned 26. I know you guys haven't got there just yet, but the past the over 25s category in the X Factor, that's me. That's, Louis Walsh is going to be managing me.
That's right, that's the judge's hush you need to go to.
Yeah, I'll be like Ryland. I'm like Ryland, just crying.
I don't know if it's just because I have been nothing but miserable for months now. No, I'm joking. But life is just...
Welfare.
Talk about welfare checks. Kieran, you're into the badminton now.
I have been starting to play badminton for the first time since secondary school. Fucking class.
I've never been a badminton man myself personally. I just go walks every day. That's my sport. Play fives. Still do that, but
I'm trying to be more active,
You've got to try and keep fit at this old age, ain't you? You've got to try and keep the muscles.
The knees are too creaky after fives.
When you say stuff like that, I'm the oldest here.
You say that as if you're 50-year-old, right?
Feel it, but feel it.
Well, anyway, hello to everybody who's watching. We hope you're keeping active as well. We're sadly going to have to start talking about Celtic because it has been yet again a week passed by where there's not an awful lot of positives to talk about, but we'll get into all of that. I guess though today we should start with the big news that broke this afternoon in regards to Joe Hart and his Celtic future, which is no more because Joe Hart has announced that he will retire at the end of the season. A club statement was released this afternoon and an interview with Joe Hart where he dived into the decision and why he's going to retire for Celtic after a season where his future has been questioned by Celtic fans. But nonetheless, a surprising announcement. I'll start with you, Ryan. I didn't expect to see that today, but here we are.
I think it was surprising timing more than a surprising announcement. I think we all sort of expected Joe Hart to maybe be moving on to pastures new, whether that be retirement or a new club in the summer. But he seems to have just killed all the speculation dead in the water. And he's also put a bit of pressure on the club as well to... Right, they know now it's coming towards the end of February. They've now got until, I would say, June to scout a goalkeeper. I don't know about you, but I want Celtic to have a new goalkeeper for the very first day of pre-season training. You know, Joe Hart's been the number one goalkeeper for what is 3 seasons now. Needs to be somebody brought in. They need to be acclimatised and they need to be ready for next season. Joe Hart, tremendous servant. A bit surprising about the timing, but I'm not surprised that he's leaving the club. 36 years old, what a career.
Yeah, before we dive into the future of the goalkeeping department, Kieran, just on Joe Hart himself, he's obviously had a season where folk have questioned him and his ability, if it's dwindled or if he's still the same keeper he maybe was when he first signed. But realistically, the guy saved a hell of a lot of points for Celtic in the recent games. He's still contributed massively over his now coming up 3-year stint. I mean, he goes out with the best wishes of Celtic fans. What's your general thoughts to the announcement of his retirement?
I mean, I think it's big for him because he's said in his interview he wants to go out well still. He didn't want his body to retire him, and I think that's something a lot of professional football players don't really get the luxury of. And I think it helps us out as well because you said it forces the club's hand that they need to start acting now. And he's not doing a last minute after the last game of the season saying, oh, by the way, that was my last game. So it gives him his chance to, I think as well, if we talk about the way there's been a lot of discourse around. I mean, I myself have criticised him over the past couple of seasons and I don't think I was wrong for doing so. He came in at a time where we needed solidity and he brought that. I mean, everybody's been tweeting today about the saves against Jablonec and that. Like, that at the time was massive for us when we were in the trenches, it seemed like, when it came to goalkeepers.
Yep.
But I think his time at Celtic will be... I think you look back on it fondly. I mean, there's been a fair few sketchy moments, but it has saved us at the same time. But I feel like with most goalkeepers in the world, like certainly goalkeepers at Celtic, a lot of them have got a dodgy moment in them. So, but I remember when we first signed him, it still felt quite a bit mental. I know his career had kind of went off a bit, but the fact we had signed Joe Hart, like if you'd told me that at 12-year-old that Joe Hart would have played for Celtic, I wouldn't have believed you. But
yeah,
I think he's also got the chance now to sort of shape the narrative in the last few months, how he's going to be remembered, because as you said, he's saved plenty of points for Celtic in the past couple of months. Now he's got the chance. We'll talk about how big the rest of the season is, I'd imagine, but he's got the chance to play his part now and go out potentially looked on a lot more fondly than it would have been this time last year.
Yep, another league title to fight for Joe Hart, and I think you've worded it well, Kieran. There has been those kind of sketchier moments, but I would say there's definitely been a lot more ups and downs for Joe. He came in with such a polarising it was such a polarising sort of figure when he arrived at the club, Ryan. I for one was very critical. I was not happy when we signed Joe Hart. 2 months later, I was buying topless photos of him to hang in the background of my videos. So, I mean, that just shows you how he won over the ones that did doubt him coming in, Ryan. And that's a real credit to him and what he did. And I don't want to sit here and talk all day about the past when we certainly have a lot of the future to look on to. But it is a real testament to the hard work that he put in, because he came in with a career that looked like you could have said done, and he rejuvenated it big time. Probably with the guidance of someone like Ange Postecoglou, but he deserves the credit for the work that he's done.
I think both sides have helped each other. Joe Hart was in a crossroads in his career. You know, he was second or third choice at Tottenham Hotspur, depending on what players were available or not. Ever since that public sort of dressing down by Pep Guardiola, and then it was Nuno as well, did the same. He's both basically said that you're not going to play in my team. So he was at a crossroads in his career. I think he's a total professional of the game. He's shown that in his 3 seasons at the club. Nothing but a model sort of pupil, you would say. Definitely a good player for Ange Postecoglou to put a lot of faith into, and then Brendan Rodgers as well, not to sort of upset the apple cart. I was just having a wee look at the Instagram post that he put up. Some names he's got here, by the way. Some
The people in the comments
he's got, but I thought the best one came from Greg Taylor, and I think it's a bit of an insight into what might happen.
The highlight of Taylor's season there.
I thought it was alright. The weekend for 60 minutes. Bernabeu's problem. But so he said, "You are the man. Time to finish the right way." So that shows you that he's not switching off. I know Joe Hart's comments was saying he's not switching off. He's locked in for the rest of this season. Maybe he's playing without any fear or without any pressure on him. He knows what his future's going to be. This is him now. From now until the end of the season, everybody's pulling in the same direction, and I like to see that from the teammates.
No,
so they're two of the leaders probably in the dressing room, you'd say, Greg Taylor and Joe Hart. So, model professional. Delighted for him for what was a great career both at Man City and at Celtic, and you know he's perked up his trophy contributions as well, which I thought it was a bit light in his career considering the amount that he would have won if he was in Pep Guardiola's team. He's managed to even it out a bit by going to Celtic. I think it's 5 trophies he's won while at Celtic, so can't complain at all with his trophy haul.
And Kieran, I mean, that's the kind of figure now that there's times like this when you look to leaders like Joe Hart, and he spoke about obviously trying to end that season in a high. So now you're hoping that maybe the determination that lies inside his that kind of fire in his belly maybe is infectious to the rest of the changing room, because we haven't been good enough, we haven't played good enough, and you know if he wants to go out in a trophy, hopefully that spreads like wildfire in the camp.
I mean, I think surely by this point, I mean, there was obviously the talks of them going through the team on the weekend there after that piss poor result, but you've got to think the team's got to be pulling together, and I mean, this Sunday will be the perfect chance to see whether it is just talk or if it's something that's been worked hard on the training pitch and they're ready for the last 12 games of this league campaign, because as obviously Greg Taylor said there, Ryan said, surely to God they're pulling together at this point, because it's never.
Yeah. So talking about the future, I guess we should kind of dance around that just now. You know, it's obviously not the first time that Celtic will be having conversations about goalkeepers that we know of this year, because along the course of this season, we've heard the names Caoimhin Kelleher, we've heard the names Andre Lunin, and I said this exact thing in my video today. I always thought that they were kind of a step too far for Celtic, unrealistic targets, if you will. But it shows that there has apparently been talk of goalkeepers within the club over the past 12 months. So I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today giving it the whole the work starts now, we don't leave this last minute. For me, the work started 6-7 months ago. It should be sorted by now in terms of right, okay, this is where we go for. But this is the big question. Who is it then? And what is next?
I think they've got to break the bank for a goalkeeper. If there's a good, highly rated young goalkeeper that they can make a profit on in 3-4 years' time, but you know, he needs a step up to a bigger club. If there's somebody that's outstanding in his field, then I think Celtic should be breaking the bank 8, 9, 10 million. It's such an important. It'll win you points. It seems a striker will win you points, but a goalkeeper will win you so many points this season. Look at the other side of the city. They've got a competent goalkeeper.
Although some may argue they didn't break the bank for that goalkeeper.
Well, they did in other ways. They've given him a massive signing on fee and massive wages as well, apparently. So they did do it in other ways, but they found that. They found that sort of loophole to get Jack Butland into the club. He's by far the best goalkeeper in the country. I don't think anyone can disagree with that at this moment in time. Shows you that those goalkeepers are there and are available. If you need to move about your wage structure to get a good goalkeeper in, then I'm all for it. But Celtic need a goalkeeper, not just for next season, they need them for the next 3-4 seasons that they can build with that. That's the one position that I think, if they need to, then go and break the bank and bring the best sort of goalkeeper in. And I don't want them to be put off by the Barkas example of a few.
Bring his name up.
I know. I was actually thinking about that when Kieran said about goalkeepers in the trenches. I was just thinking of a trench with loads of goalkeepers in it, and Barkas pure
leading the charge.
He's shooting his own guys. But yeah, I don't want them to get put off by the Barkas experiment. It wasn't even an experiment. It was just a transfer that didn't go wrong for that didn't go right for a multitude of reasons. So they better do their scouting if it's not already done and get the best possible goalkeeper in, because it could be the difference between winning and losing the league. It's going to be tight.
You know, my inevitable next question, Kieran, is do you have faith that the club are going to do that?
Well,
because
my next question was, who's Norwich City's third choice goalkeeper?
Who is that? Right, let me have a look. Let's see. Norwich City squad, because God knows, it could be. But genuinely, Kieran, do you have any faith? Like, what is your thinking as Joe Hart announces he's hanging up the gloves in our future?
I mean, you could look at it at the perspective of maybe an excitement of getting a new goalkeeper and something new, but the way the past couple of transfer windows have went, I've got zero faith whatsoever. And the recruitment team at Celtic the past couple of years has been atrocious. So,
by the way, just not to cut you off, Dan Barden is the third choice for Norwich.
Remember the name, folks.
Remember the name. But anyway, continue with what you were saying.
But like, you just don't have the confidence anymore. Like, you had the confidence under Ange, and I understand that transfer window, his first one, and even the 3 Japanese signings in Maeda and Hatate. Like, it's going to be hard to get that level of hits over misses again, I think. But you've got to be, at a club like Celtic, you can't be affording to do this. Just get a string of players in that aren't good enough to break into the starting 11. You've seen that this season. Out of the signings made, and you had Palmer for a good while, was the only player starting. So it's the recruitment has been unforgivable the past while, and I don't know if any of that's going to change in the immediate future. But I mean, there's been a lot of rumblings about potential changeovers in positions and that in the summer in regards to the recruitment team, but just need to see how serious we're taking it.
It's in times like this where I really wish the board did go out last year, and it would never have happened, and just got Livakovic if he was available. But it's like there's no point in looking back on your Livakovic's or your Lunans or your Kelleher's. It's now's the time to act, really.
Yeah, it was disappointing not getting Livakovic, but it seemed as if there was like one rumour and then that all went away and he went to, was it Fenerbahce?
Fenerbahce, for about 7 million or something.
He'll be on a good wage as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't deny him that or begrudge him that because he was playing for Zagreb. It would be, I'm not saying it would be a sideward step, but Celtic and Zagreb are sort of playing in the same sort of stratosphere. Well, Fenerbahce or something.
Which is a joke, to be fair.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be the
it's
case.
the way that things are at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe if there was somebody with a bit of ambition at the club, we wouldn't be having that sort of comparison,
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be.
But listen, if the scouting is not working, then they need to get rid of the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And there's one person you can attribute it to because he is the head of recruitment and scouting. So, you know, if he's signing these players and they're not doing well, you know, you look at some of the players that they brought in even in January. You know, there's already question marks, and some players might be too early, but you know there are still question marks arising. How many misses do you need to get in terms of transfer windows before your position becomes untenable?
Yeah, I know. We'll probably touch on that in the coming weeks. But before we move on to like our next topics of conversation, I thought it'd be nice just to ask this one last question to both of you. I'll start with you, Kieran, if you can think as quick as you possibly can. Do you have a standout Joe Hart moment or a favourite Joe Hart moment of his time here at Celtic so far? I mean, who knows, maybe in the next 12 or so games he might develop one that's even bigger.
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I feel like everybody's answer's obviously got to be that double save and all that, like for right at the start. But I'm trying to think, like proper game.
The applause when everybody stood on their feet. Like, seen a goalkeeper make an actual save.
Like, I'm trying to think, I'm sure I'm not used to remembering stuff like this, but I'm trying to remember if there was any like game-winning saves and that. And
I'll tell you the most.
Things.
I'll tell you the most disappointing moment. It was in May of last year when we had the wee parade at Parkhead and they were up on the stage and it was Ange's like farewell basically, and they gave Joe Hart the mic and he didn't even drop decent. I was fuming.
That has already been used done to death, I think.
But still, come on, in the flesh live, he could have gave us
a redacted statement considering who was in that video alongside Joe Hart. You know, I know he'd used it.
Chris Benoit.
That's pretty much Chris Benoit football, isn't it?
Who you thinking? Who you talking about?
That Manchester side player.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Aye.
Redacted that.
Listen, it's still Joe's bit. So can you? I quite like that. Just it's not even really a moment. 'Cause it's more. I just love the photo of him with the trophy and he's carrying it about like a big fucking bazooka. I love that. That's one of my favourite moments. Legend.
I forgot about that photo of him holding the smoke bomb as well.
Oh, aye. That's a good
taking
one.
after pictures.
That was a photographer's dream.
I know
that photo. That was good. What about you, Ryan? Keep thinking.
I'm trying to think of any standout moments. I think just in general, the solidity brought back the defence, you know, alongside Carter Vickers and Starfelt. That was like a sort of holy trinity of defence, that last line of defence. It was just, a joy to behold in good times for sure. You know,
Good times
I feel
had
like
by all.
that Andy Bernard quote, the
You know,
good times.
if you
But
knew you were
they
in the
were good
place.
times, and you know, it was a really, really good signing. Definitely better than the other signing they announced on that very day with James McCarthy.
I forgot that was a double
And
whammy.
I thought that James McCarthy was going to be the better out of the two signings. How wrong was that?
Oh, take us back, take us back. We were young and naive. But Joe Hart retiring, ladies and gents, so enjoy him while we have him. And best of luck to Joe. On that note, I think we should go in half-timer. I don't know how long we exactly spoke about Joe there, but before we get into all the negatives about Celtic, we may as well have a bit of fun, shall we?
Yeah.
So this week, we don't actually have one prepared by our usual quizmaster, Kieran Sellik, and that's because I forgot to announce that we were even doing a podcast tonight. It completely slipped my head. Didn't put up a tweet to ask for questions or nothing. Kieran had to do that moments before we left this evening. So Kieran took it upon his good self to create a tenable for us.
I mean, no matter could be riddled with errors. I'll get corrected in the comments, but I don't know if this is too hard. But I mean, the last 10 Celtic players to score against Motherwell.
Oh Christ!
And the individual goal scorers.
Okay.
Like, so some
So
of
you
them
can't
have, some
pick-
of them have
aye.
scored like 2, 3.
Right, okay. Right, that's
so,
fair.
and I'll tell you, it obviously goes for that last game at Celtic Park in November, and it goes back to 2022.
Wow, there's been that many since.
2022.
Wow.
The 10 individual
I
goal
was
scorers.
expecting it to go back to like, I was ready to out with like fucking Scott Sinclair or something.
I know.
Nah.
I was actually thinking it was going to be.
Yeah, yeah, that's nuts. Right, okay, so there's been 10 individual goal scorers
I
in
think we can
2022.
do this.
I think we could do it.
Just run back the games in your head.
Aye,
but
we
then you
won't
might
go
need to
too
start
fast.
guessing, like-
Right, so Matt O'Reilly.
Yep.
There's one.
Who scored in the last one?
Was the last one? No.
Turnbull.
Yep.
Turnbull, that's a good one. I mean, if it's 2022 onwards, I hope this isn't a wrong answer, but I feel like Kyogo's surely
Yes.
there. Yes, right, okay. Right, so that's 3.
Motherwell.
Trying to think of games.
Yakimakis.
Yep.
Oh, Calum McGregor.
Yep.
Yep, that's 5. We're halfway there. We're halfway there.
I'm trying to go back.
How many red arrows are we getting on this, by the way?
Got one.
I'll give you a life each.
Right, okay.
Got
right.
one. Maeda.
Yep.
Oh, nice. So we're on 6, and we've still got 2 lives. Yeah, we've still got 2 lives. Right. So we've said O'Reilly, McGregor, Kyogo.
Turnbull.
Got one.
Turnbull.
Yakimakis.
You do another one?
Go on.
Palmer.
Correct.
Oh,
so that's the most recent
First
games
goal.
checked off. You're
Nice.
now looking a bit further back.
Right. So we've only got 3 more to go. Now, in my head, I feel like somebody might have scored against
got
them.
another one.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Tati.
Correct.
No, nice.
That's one of my favourite goals. You know, the 1-2 sort of.
Yeah, that's right. So we're on 8.
Think about that
Christ,
game.
we're flying. Right, this could be. I don't know if I want to
Got
say
another
it.
one?
No.
Sorry, Abada.
I was
Correct.
literally about to say him. I was literally about to say it. But I was about to say I
was
don't want
from
to
that
say it in
game,
case I'm wrong. So we're
yeah.
on 9 and we've got 2 lives. So this is where we need to be
You
delicate.
need to think about this.
Aye.
Now.
So we're on 9 with 2 lives to go. Now,
Motherwell. I'm trying to think of Fir Park goals, but then you're.
because in my head I was like, has one of the fullbacks scored against them? But the 2 fullbacks that came to my mind was Ralston and
I was thinking.
maybe Ralston.
So was that.
I have this vision in right.
Yeah.
I'll risk my life here.
Okay.
Tony Ralston.
No.
About.
Let me think. No getting any clue as to what game this is. What season?
2022. I don't want to give away the game.
2022, 23 is that then?
No.
21, 22. Okay, I've got the game then. I
Alright.
think.
Happy with my efforts.
So I'm thinking about that game right after the Celtic Rangers game.
We have a quiz, by the way. McGinlay is with you, apparently. Just saying.
Okay.
I better go find him.
Let me think. Who have we said? Can you just go through all the
Right,
players that we
so-
said, please?
Turnbull, Palmer, Kyogo, O'Reilly, McGregor, Maeda, Abada, Hitati, and Yakimakis.
I was going to go for Aaron Moy. I don't know if he scored.
Well, if the season's 20, he wouldn't have been here in 21, 22.
Oh, is it 21, 22? Okay, so that's fine then. I redact that statement. Redacted. 21, 22. So going through all the players, trying to think of the wide players. Said Maeda, said Kyogo, said Yakimakis, said I don't know.
I think these are overthinking this.
James Forrest.
No.
Ah.
I'll give you one last chance to
Alright.
secure it.
Overthinking it, because you said overthinking it. Oh wait, did we say Rogic?
We didn't.
Is it Tom Rogic?
And that is you fucked it.
Oh no! I thought it was Tom.
You were rhyming off all the best players of the last couple of years, and you missed the Yotto.
Oh shit!
Jota. 6-0.
Ah.
The 6-0 trophy day game.
The reason I wouldn't have. Yeah.
Because on that, Jota and Yakimakis were the last two I could have put because Turnbull and Kyogo had already scored in the other games. So
that's so annoying. Do you know what? People are going to hate me for saying this, but I just completely forgot he existed for 10 minutes there. Like, just completely forgot he even played for us.
I talked about him yesterday and I was quite sad. You know, it's
I thought when you were rhyming off like Hitati, Abada, Maeda, I was like, alright,
We've got to get Jota. There's always one.
The thing is, that would have came to me if if that goal he'd scored at Fir Park had counted, that perfect goal, you know, the one with the stupid VAR angle.
Aye.
If that one had been given, it would have come to me.
Aye, because they didn't have the camera in the right place for it and they had to use one for the other end of the park.
Fucking periscope.
Yeah, aye. Oh, Jesus. Well, Kieran has defeated us at Tenable, so...
I thought it was quite a hard one to be fair, but you were flying.
We flew. Ryan mostly flew. I sat here and looked pretty. But aye, well done, Kieran. Well done. Good attempt anyway. We have got a full-time quiz though, which is bueno. On that note, it's time to get serious because we have to talk about Celtic, their game this weekend, and their current form. Celtic head to Motherwell to take on the Fir Park side. Kieran, are you excited?
Absolutely not.
And you've got a ticket.
I know.
And you're still not fucking excited.
I mean, you've got to think this has got to be the turning point, but I feel like we're saying this every fucking
Groundhog Day.
We're just constantly turning.
But it's getting tiresome and you're wondering where the spark's going to come from.
Yeah.
And we were talking before about like there being a lack of spark in the team, and I mean everybody was saying it on Twitter as well, but see after the Kelly game, like obviously you're in the moment in the stadium, you think, oh maybe I was just overreacting as to how bad we were playing, and then somebody was so cruel as to put the bit in the game, it was like the 60-minute mark where we couldn't break out the press, Kilmarnock's press and then right back area, like that's just scandalous. So having to watch that back and know that you were right to be groaning at them just sideways passing, but when you go around.
So I was going to say to you, before we go any further and before we talk about everything, so now that we're like 5 days removed from that game, what is your current thinking when you look back on it? Are you as angry as you were then? How are you feeling now? Because the dust has settled a bit and I feel like the initial anger and disappointment of dropping points there has maybe, I'm not saying vanished, not by any stretch of the imagination, but for most people it's maybe okay, right, now we need to just get going again. So where are you currently sitting after Saturday?
I mean, I still think the anger's there, because see if we were playing amazing, the goalkeeper was on one, we couldn't, that was the reason we weren't scoring, and then they got the luckiest goal at the end, then fair enough. But they looked like they were going to score for large parts of that game, Kilmarnock, so you can't be... It's dropping points at home. I know it sounds like the divine right to win and all that, and especially at home. But we should not be dropping points at home, in the league to some of these teams. And these are the things that's going to end up costing you in the long run, because it's not even just the odds result. We're in a really bad run of form now. Even times where we have got the result, the performances have been shocking since we came back for that winter break. And you just wonder where's the spark going to come from to reignite the fire in this team to go on, and because realistically speaking, we need to be perfect in the last.
Yeah,
and the last run in
right up to the end now.
And in any other season, you've always got that belief in a Celtic team that they've shown us this season that they can go on that run of form. No, this season, you can attribute that to big players being out injured, which we have had quite a poor run of luck with. I will admit that. But I was saying to you before it, what's going to be the thing that changes their form? Is it just going to be the mentality of the players they'll need to rally around? Because we've not really got a player coming back this second to come and help the team.
Nobody by this
Greg
weekend.
Taylor obviously should hopefully see the night here.
Well, he's been in training. Do you think he'll play?
Who?
Carl Vickers.
So,
he's
like,
in
David-
training,
so
he's
David's
in
gonna
full
back
training,
this
And
week.
as I said
Don't
to
try
you,
to be smart.
No, but he is.
I know,
he,
he's back,
he could
aye.
return this weekend.
Well, he could. He could.
but it's just we're putting a lot of pressure on
Vickers.
Vickers and Hitati
Aye.
coming back to save the season, and especially if they've been injured for such large parts of the season. I think it's maybe a lot to ask them to come in and be that game winner. Like, I don't think Hitati especially, he's been really, really unlucky as well, because he came back, went away with Japan, got injured again for 4 to 6 weeks. So it's been a far from ideal season in terms of that. Then you've obviously got the Abada situation where one of our players has just decided not to play for the club anymore, and I doubt we'll get too much into that because there's some strong opinions on it, and I'm sick of fucking hearing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm sick of hearing, but I mean, this is what happens when you play poorly. Ryan, the toxicity is returning, the negative vibes around Celtic Park are back, but you can't blame folk. I mean, we're not doing anything on the park to produce positive vibes, so it's just a kind of big bubbling recipe for disaster at the minute.
For me, when people moan about other fans moaning or about other fans booing the team, fans have every right to boo.
Paid
If
the ticket.
they've paid their ticket, they're allowed to voice their opinion. It's a free country at the end of the day. The policing of other fans is just ridiculous, and it shows that people are turning on each other due to how rubbish Celtic have been on the pitch recently. They will be 5 points behind going into Sunday's game. I don't see Hearts doing anything at Ibrox on Saturday afternoon, so the pressure will be on. If they don't get a win in this game, you might as well say the league's over, because if you can't pick up wins at Fir Park against Motherwell, a team that have been struggling all season, they forgot to even announce that their manager got a new deal. So if they can't get a win against Motherwell, then the season's a bogey, to be honest, because they need to be winning these games.
Is this do or die
Yeah,
for
this
you now?
is do or die. This game is. If they don't get 3 points, I think it's over.
There's only so much they can come out in the press and talk about kicking on and no actually kicking on. Like, it is now or never, as we've said a few times in this podcast, but it's just so frustrating to see, and I'd like to see where your opinion lies now, because there was a lot of talk about it at the weekend.
My opinion?
And for me, I'm on the side of the board has done Rodgers dirty this season in terms of the funds they've given him and that, but there is absolutely no reason why we should be playing this poor way. We had enough players for that treble winning team that we should not be in the predicament we are in now.
Absolutely.
I think it comes down to him. He's supposedly meant to be this excellent manager, and that's what he's been praised for in the past, and he kind of get a tune out of this team. And I think it does come down to the playing style. There is a lot to be said about the transfer business this year, which has been shocking, but you have got to be able to work with the players you've got, and this season it's just not been happening. So where do you think the blame lies?
I don't even know where you begin. What I will say is I don't think the next 12 games for Brendan Rodgers is only fighting for a title. I think you can argue that there is an aspect of fighting for his job. I don't think there's
for a career full stop, because it was already the first time.
I could see him landing his feet somewhere, to be fair.
No, but like, he's not going to get, if he does poorly at Celtic, he's not going to get at. I mean, I know Leicester.
I think what it would come
win the
down to is more like what you consider a good thing for his career, because I think that any bottom tier champions Premier League team would still jump at him and pay the money that pays his bills.
I don't know. I feel like the perception of the league down south. I think
well, maybe.
Do you not think it's career
Would they not have
suicide
done
if
that?
it comes up here and doesn't do well?
Would they not have done that in the summer, those Premier League teams, if they really wanted them?
But there was none in the summer. Who in the summer?
There was teams that needed a manager in the summer.
Well, but like, were they more attractive than the position Celtic was in at the time, would you say? I'm not sitting here trying to say that Brendan Rodgers is going to be fine. He won't be. I do get where you're coming from, Kieran. I think there's absolutely a case to say that it's kind of career suicide.
He's got so much riding on this as well.
But you know what? I'm just talking about, the likes of your teams like Forest, they sack managers like fucking merry-go-rounds, and they'll just end up with any. You can't tell me that you'd rather a Chris Wilder than a Brendan Rodgers, surely. He will get a job that pays his bills. He'll be fine. But in terms of these kind of jobs, good jobs, yeah, he'll definitely take a big hit, and he'll have to build Auld back again. There's no doubt about it. What my position on it is now is he's got 12 games to convince Celtic fans that he should carry on with that role into next season, and he needs to turn the style on. He needs to be playing a better football. Winning the league and potentially a Scottish Cup is not just it for Brendan Rodgers. I think it would be safe for him, and I don't think the board would get rid of him. I don't even think he would walk, but the fans will continue to voice their displeasure, and that's what his biggest part is now, is to win them back over. Do I have faith he's going to do it at this moment in time? Honestly, no, I don't. I don't see any evidence to suggest that he's going to do that. But if he realises the importance of everything he's got at the minute, being the Celtic man that he's meant to be, then he should be making changes. The question is he left it too late? Because right now he's on a shaky peg. And my patience is wearing thin. I think the only thing that keeps me holding on to Brendan Rodgers more than maybe the next or the average fan at the minute is that that I want him to succeed, and that I still think there's so many factors at the club that are just toxic at the minute. But he is part of it, and he needs to stand tall and fix that.
My main point was the fact that there's still a few people trying to absolve him or blame him. Like,
he's not absolutely
his fault, but
no.
he has got to take.
Everybody's
his share
got.
of blame.
I think there's different parties that deserve blame, and he's definitely one of them.
I understood the chance at full time sack the board, and the
Lawwell get to somewhere.
Yeah.
Can't remember where they said.
They didn't drop those two entities didn't drop points.
Sirens run here tonight, by the way, and the mic's picking them up.
But the thing is, those two entities didn't cause Celtic to drop points on Saturday. When you pass over that white line, it's Brendan Rodgers and it's the players to do the job, and they both didn't do it. They had so many chances. Well, they had a couple of chances rather to make it more comfortable. You look at that Paulo Bernardo chance in particular.
Yeah.
You've got to score it. See, when that didn't go in, I don't know about you, but I thought in my head, that's going to cost us. Mm-hmm. That's going to come back and bite us in the arse.
We said it to each other with chances like that. I don't know if it was the exact chance, but we said something that.
But there was an acceptance. That Celtic were going to drop points. See, when the 5 minutes was put up, you're like, well, come on, they're going to score, aren't they? Because they
looked hungrier. They should have
won the game.
And that's this is what Brendan Rodgers ultimately is, the figurehead in the changing room and at the training ground to get this team up for it. So he's got to take a large amount of the blame. A lot of players are looking so like they've down tools, a lot of them, I think, and then maybe Rodgers is the guy to blame for that, absolutely. But there's so many inexcusable performers at the minute, and I'm trying to wonder like why is it being like this. I seen a tweet earlier and I can't remember who it was about, but it was something about players not being brave enough, and it was a manager speaking about one of his teams, and I can't remember who it was, and it was a problem. I think it was Thomas Tuchel saying that he was in a meeting with the board and he's saying these players aren't brave enough, they're not wanting to move forward, and they're too safe. And there's a feeling of that around Celtic at the minute. Everybody's wanting to be too safe, and I'm like, why? What is going on? I don't understand, because I would love to sit here and say that I believe that Brendan Rodgers wouldn't be telling them to play this shit, but is he? So it's just such a weird one.
I don't understand
but it's like you look at their style of play, especially what is their style of play?
Yeah.
That's a bigger worry for me.
We said this early on in the season. Well, right, it's bedding into the new system and that, but what is the system?
Yeah.
Like genuinely, because all season it's just been mindlessly passing the ball, but we've had a lot of penalties this year as well. Missed a lot of penalties this year as well.
I'd love to see the conversion rate.
But it's like we've now got a set of wingers on our hands that don't want to take a man on and can't cross a ball.
Yep.
Are they wingers by name only?
Yeah. So this is what I would love to sit in at Lennoxtown, because I want to know what's getting told to these players. The wingers especially are dross. None of them can kick their own fucking arse.
It's Harry Kewell.
And somebody brought this up on my stream the other day. Do you think that's got a big part of it? Because Harry Kewell's, I'm not saying that before he left they were playing brilliantly, because they weren't. But they've been a hell of a lot worse than when he left the club in January. Was it January he left?
What's Adam Sadler's record since he came to Celtic?
I don't think he's won an Oscar. Adam Sadler's record since he came to Celtic, no idea. No great.
It was a month ago, wasn't it?
Aye.
So 31st of December, so it was before the Christmas break, right before the winter break.
But this is what I mean, and if Rodgers, so we might be talking more about the game obviously at the weekend, but if Rodgers was to go in the summer, it can't end there. Celtic need to clear out house, and I don't mean to just jump in bandwagon and just go all guns blazing. We've had the same coaches for too long. We've had the same stuff for too long. I think there's maybe ideal to have maybe one guy there who's maybe transcends managers and continuity. So if that was to be John Kennedy, for example, right, okay, I'm fine with that. You know me, I love Big John. But right now I just feel like everything's getting a bit stale in every department at the club. Because do you know why? There's nepotism hires, because there's fucking pals getting each other jobs. Christ, the B team is managed by Stephen McManus and Darren O'Day. That right there is a sad indictment of what we're doing as a football club. I think the whole place needs a fucking refresh. And I don't know if we're going to get that, to be fair.
I just think, just going back to Brendan Rodgers for a minute, you know, the mission statement, when in his first sort of interview with Celtic TV, he was talking about, so the two things he wanted to do were continue the dominance of Celtic in Scottish football.
Yep.
There ain't no dominance this season. They're not dominating anything. They've already lost one of their trophies. They might lose another two.
But they've dominated the derby games.
Yeah, well, do you know, it doesn't matter. It all counts for
that in
naught.
itself is
That
baffling.
just makes that just makes it worse.
Aye.
Because they're losing and drawing games. Drawing and losing are the same thing in this league at the moment.
Yeah,
And
especially if it's to not if it's not Rangers.
I know Kilmarnock only got a draw in that game, and it's going to sound weird when I say this, but Celtic lost that game against
Celtic
Kilmarnock.
lost at Kilmarnock.
I
Yeah.
obviously felt like that, but what is it? Is it 7 occasions we've dropped points this season?
Yeah.
And not one of them's been to Rangers. That in itself is inexcusable.
Yep.
Right?
So the two things in that mission statement were that he was going to continue the domination of Scottish football with Celtic. That's not happened. In fact, it's, you know, the title might change hands this season and improve Celtic in Europe. Yes, there has been little moments of something of a growth.
I suppose you
but
could argue
fourth
we've
place,
got more points, but the
fourth
progress
place.
nowhere. We went nowhere.
Where's the Europe after Christmas? That was the sort of thing that was talked about.
At least it's
Not there.
guaranteed next year.
Well,
It's guaranteed next year.
that is true. That is Europa League or Champions League, yeah. But it's just he's failed a lot for me this season, Brendan Rodgers. I've got to be honest. This second coming, and I've tried to be as
I
positive
guess
as
the
I
bigger
can.
question is, do you have faith it can turn around?
It could, but I don't think it will. I'll be perfectly honest. The trajectory is downwards. I've been saying that all week. The trajectory of this team is downwards. There seems to be just a negative feeling all over the club. There's a malaise that's set in with the fans. Fans are now enduring home games rather than going and enjoying them. I've heard that from experience. Even my own dad said that. My dad said that he doesn't enjoy going to the games at the moment because of the toxicity in the crowd and what he's seen on the pitch as well. That wasn't the case last season. There was a lot of happiness going and watching Celtic last season, and to be honest with you, the product's decreased since last season. It was a far better game to watch last season. They were more successful, and it just feels like a downgrade. And I didn't think I was going to say that about Brendan Rodgers' side, but I just think that's the case.
I mean, there's been a lot of factors into why Rodgers' second spell isn't exactly being off to a flyer. It's been very underwhelming. I mean, when he came in, I'm going to admit I did think he was the man we had to get for the job. But at the time, it was the statement appointment. Right, Andrew's gone, but we've now got Brendan Rodgers back. I was like, right, I'm on board with it. But then if you're the board, why do you get him back and no back him?
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, obviously, I think it was getting that sort of period of time where it was like it was the board's fault. But then
Now it's setting in.
got to even later last year, I was one of the people that said he is not absolved of blame, and there was a lot more people still saying back then that, oh no, we still got January.
Because January was coming.
January was approaching. He said we need 3 or 4 quality additions. That was the last thing he said on it. Didn't push for it at all in the media. Then as soon as it's finished, he was happy with Kuhn and Ida coming in. And now we find ourselves, after blowing, what was it, an 8-point lead, to now
10-point swing.
So 10-point swing, and we're now gone into the final 12 games with all of us sitting here saying we need to hope that it turns around, but we've never got any additions in January that might give you a bit of faith. There's like, see if we were sitting here thinking, right, there's a couple of players showing me flashes. I don't want to write people like Kuhn and Ida off, because I don't really believe in doing that, but for what you've been shown,
Aye, why would you
like,
put your eggs in that
you've not
basket?
really got the faith to put in it, and I think all we've got to do is hope that the team are working hard behind the scenes to try and correct this. But as Ryan said, there's not really been a lot of signs like for us to like even latch on and say, right, I still got the belief. I think it is more a blind faith maybe. But
Yeah, I mean, as I said, he's fighting for it now, isn't he?
Take history out of it. If Rodgers had never been here the first time, and
I think
he was,
there'd be.
that's the only
but this
thing
is-
that's
so
keeping him going
th-
at the
this is
moment for me.
Well, that's obviously a massive part of it. But this is me playing devil's advocate. This isn't me with my own point. What do you make of all the people that say that it's an exaggeration? Because like before we slipped to second, we were top of the league, and people are like, "Oh, it's ridiculous! You're demanding your manager to get sacked, or you're demanding change when you're top of the table."
everybody could see it coming.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why other people went out their way to try and take the piss on. What was it, midweek when Rangers last week when Rangers never went top?
I know.
As soon as they were doing that, I was like, they're going to go to
Keep
Aberdeen.
quiet, man.
Like,
Keep quiet.
Like, I honestly don't know why I can't run their mouth like that.
It's just
Still top.
what happens, isn't it?
Of course,
That was
Celtic
a-
should still be top.
that is
The
a
8 points
brass
clear.
neck.
That's
People
come on
that are saying
standards. It's got. I get that maybe people are sort of dealing with it in different ways. The fact that this league is close, maybe that's the reason that they took that sort of approach. But there was no laughing matter for me. The fact that Celtic were on top by the skin of their teeth. Wish that it still was the case, that they were still top by the skin of their teeth. That seems like a heavenly place to be compared to where they are just now, and where they probably will be at Saturday at 5 o'clock, because that'll be a big eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, moving forward, it's fairly obvious to say, but now, like, you just want the weekend to go by without, like, no errors, or you just want something to give you hope that the 11 games after that, you've got a fighting chance, because realistically, they still need to play Rangers twice before the end of the season. And as I said to you before the podcast, this is pure flipped. I used to look at them when they said, "Oh, we've still got 2 old firms and that before the end of the season." Now we're the one that's flipped on our heads, and usually you would say the Celtic Rangers games decide the title, but we're making sure that doesn't matter this year because we're dropping points to
everybody else.
Everybody else. So I think more importantly, we need to make sure we're not making mountains out of molehills with games that we really shouldn't be.
Well, we know Fir Park can be a tough place to go. Celtic need to get the job done this weekend. Now, we've had updates on a couple of the injured players. Cameron Carter-Vickers has returned to training, which is good news, but as we've already mentioned, I doubt we'll see him this weekend. I'd be shocked if we did. And with the record of his injuries this season, why would you rush him back? No matter how desperate you are, you're asking for another fucking disaster if you rush him back. And Alistair Johnson as well, he probably won't be back for this weekend, but I think we're hearing something like 7 to 10 more days on the Johnson front as of yesterday or
By the
something.
time people watch this podcast, if you're not putting it out later on tonight,
No, but tomorrow. So
you'll have already heard about what Brendan Rodgers has to say, more
Yes.
than likely, so you'll have more of an update than we do at this
this is all
point.
speculation, really.
Yeah, but
What were you going to say?
I don't know. Are we just opening it out to the floor? with
Aye,
regard
okay,
to
fuck
players?
it. We'll do. Well, no, I'm not. There's no point doing a team prediction because there's really only one. I mean, the team's that shit at the minute that you can't even call it a strongest 11. But I feel like there is a preferred 11 that will be played anyway. So there's no point. So if you've got any more passing thoughts before we move on to the ending segments, feel free.
Is it just me that's a bit concerned about the Navrovsky situation?
I was literally about to say, is that him bombed it again?
Oh, fuck.
That's a very, very weird situation. The fact that Welsh, I know Welsh is like this homegrown player. He's came from the academy, comes from Coatbridge. He's a good Coatbridge boy. You know, we want to see him do well. But Navrovsky was signed for $4.5 million. Don't hurt your asset like that. They're hurting 2 assets, to be honest. I mean, I know he doesn't rate Lagerbielke, and that's very clear.
They've like half the value of them already.
Oh, absolutely. They're not going to make anything from them.
I don't want to jump on the back of people like Stephen Welsh and Tony Ralston and that, because I feel like I'm guilty in the past couple of years. The past few weeks has made me rethink the way I think about the term squad player, because see, in the past we've sat here on this podcast and say I don't mind them being a squad player, because in my head squad players, like, they're not going to get played, they're there to just the very last resort. But seeing as that we're at the very last resort, I'm not happy that they're starting. So for me, does that mean they shouldn't be a squad player, because we're having to use our squad players now, and they're no.
It's not. I think
no
that
quality.
I think the term squad player is always dependent on whether you're doing well or you're doing shite. That's when you know who. Because Stephen Welsh was a squad player under Ange, but you never really heard any complaints. Whereas now, you're hearing a lot of complaints. So it's always just such a funny one. It's very.
But it's like you're happy for them to be
time.
squad players, but when it's time for them to play, are you happy? Are you happy enough to see them starting? And I think the answer now for people like Ralston, Stephen Welsh, harsh it sound, sounds is no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's surely no MD out there that's happy enough to see that.
Oh, there definitely is.
Like when you've seen a back four of Ralston, Scales,
That's just
Welsh and Burnaby.
No.
First pre-season game.
Aye, that's what I mean.
That's
That's
scary.
a pre-season lineup right there.
It's
I've
horrifying.
got to be perfectly honest, I'm not happy with any of the fullbacks. There's no fullbacks at Filming with Conference, and I include Alistair Johnson in that as well. A total
Yeah, he's
regression
been-
of a player.
He's been poor.
He's been
Really poor.
there has been games that he has
do
upped
love him,
it.
but he's been poor.
Can he get to that next level? Was that next level only capable under Ange Postecoglou? Is he an upgrade on Juranovic at this point in time? I don't want to go back in the Juranovic train, but I kind of have at the same
No,
time.
sound like Yakimakis lovers.
Yeah, I know, but
I get
he's
you.
not covered himself in glory this season. Taylor's not covered himself in glory this season, although he looked far better than what replaced him after 60 minutes. That was just. I'm done with that experiment of Burnaby now.
No,
Celtic cannot afford to play him
No.
because he's a liability. He's a complete defensive
disaster
liability.
waiting to
He
happen.
cannot pass the ball. He cannot defend. He get pushed off the ball by David Watson. Is it David Watson, who is not a big guy by any stretch of the imagination. That was the most desperate VAR attempt ever, wasn't it, to get that? That was like an awful silence waiting for that.
I
to
knew
be
it wasn't going to
confirmed.
happen, but
No.
even if like it did get ruled off for a foul, I'm like, I don't think I would really cheer it, or you would still be. I think even if that did get chopped off, there would still be a very angry crowd.
I don't think it would have even been a sigh of relief. I think it would just have been a sigh.
I was seeing that there was going to be booze at full time at 1-0. You know how worse it got. I couldn't have imagined, and it could have been even worse. You know, that chance at the end from Murray for Kilmarnock. If he puts any shot in that power and gets Joe Hart to parry it or whatever, or not get near it, then you know it's a goal. And I know a draw and a defeat would feel the same, but a defeat. Thankfully, it didn't happen. But Celtic were in that position. They were Kilmarnock were the team that were pushing for the winner in that game. There was no fight from Celtic, and I feel bad for going back to that game. But there was no fight in Celtic when they went a goal down, or they equalised when Kilmarnock equalised to go and get that winner. There was that mentality under Ange Postecoglou, and there has been to an extent under Brendan Rodgers. Look at the Motherwell game. Look at that Fir Park game. But the fight just isn't there. I don't see that fight at all, and it's concerning.
I'm sure you've brought it up in videos, Ryan, but the thing we were talking about at the end of the game last week, it was like the 11 that was on the park, you wouldn't have had confidence and to get a goal, and I think that just speaks for the depth in the squad this season. It's pretty.
I mean, what was it?
horrendous.
The team that ended the game was
Yang.
like Yang, Kuhn, and then it was like Bernardo, McGregor was still on,
Was O'Reilly still on?
Riley was still on, and then it was that back four. I mean, that's not a team that wins you games.
No.
Simple as that. It's just no. I don't care how downbeat you think we might be, or I might be being, but it's just no. It's just no. It's not a team that fills me with any form of confidence or optimism.
And as I've said in this podcast,
Whoa.
as I've said on this for many times this season, prove me wrong. And it's
Time
sad
is running
that I
out.
have to say that.
Aye.
But I've had to say it about certain players, but now I'm saying it about my belief in the squad now. Prove us all wrong.
I was going to quote that scene for Dewey Cox there, and I remembered. Probably shouldn't I? Quite frankly, you have shaken my faith in the Celtic team.
What was I gonna
Right,
say?
wrap it up if you've got one more point.
Yeah, O's not going to make it at Celtic either.
You're convinced now. Next week, you'll be saying he's the next big thing.
Absolutely not. I've had that opinion for months now. To be
I
honest.
was going to say I'll ask for score predictions, but I'm not even going to bother because you'll probably say about 5-0 to Sellik.
No,
You done that last week.
2-1.
Last
Come
week
on,
I asked you and you said 4-0 Celtic.
I just thought there was going to be a response.
a
but
resurgence.
Just delusion, really.
Delude them all.
I'm like the tie of this podcast. I'm just
You're trying. Right, okay, let's get into the Twitter questions then very quickly. And we can get up the road. We did ask quite late this week, so sorry if you didn't get the chance to ask a question or whatnot. But we managed to gather about 20 replies anyway, so we'll try and fly through them. Doogie starts us off with saying, take a shot every time McGinlay says, understood the assignment. I don't think you've said it today.
I haven't, no, but I say it on the Celtic Way briefing all the time.
Do you? Aye.
They're not really understanding the assignment. They're not even handing in
Change
the
the lingo
assignment.
up. Anthony Devine says, will Joe Hart and Cody Rhodes both finish their story? Fucking hope so. Don't know who I'm more concerned for at this point. Like, I don't know who I want to finish. See, finish their story now. Joe, you need to finish the story, but right.
He's back. Phil.
Well, oh my God, it's Phil. Phil's here.
Phil's back.
Phil. I thought Phil died. Remember he said he died, or he was dying.
Is that Ian Wright? I thought you was dead.
I thought he was dead, Mr. Smith. You're alive. I'm alive, he said. Phil says, pleased to be back on Sunday, which will be Phil's first game of the season. The team need me as much as they need you. Free. Everyone on board. If any youngsters start chanting the camaraderies of sack the board, I will be calling them out, each and every one of them. Fist emoji.
See there, Phil.
Cheers, Phil. What section you in, Phil?
Phil, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I'm glad to see you're alive and well. Adelaide, as always, he's in. He says, how can this problem be fixed? And did Kieran have a kebab pie on Saturday? I had one, and it was nice.
For the first question, I don't know how it's going to be fixed. And yes, of course,
We
I
both
had a
did.
kebab pie.
I finally had one without dropping it on the floor in front of me.
Sensational.
They're just brilliant.
Had a wee steak pie. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, did you? I like the steak pies, but the kebab pies are
I need to give that a go.
they
I need to
shit
give that a
all
go.
over the
bee's
steak ones.
knees.
I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was trying to think of that. I had a spicy or kebab recently, and it was the pie I was thinking, because it's got a tang in it. It's got a nice tang. Maida Miladat says, do you think that we will go in for a young keeper or stick with experience?
Can you think of any experienced goalkeepers that would maybe fit
David
in the Joe
Marshall.
Hart?
David Marshall. The board are going to sign him. I'm telling you right fucking now.
Fraser
Please don't
Forster.
even say that, man.
Although I did see an interesting tweet, and I want to hear your opinions on this, right? If Celtic were to get rid of Benji Siegrist and we were left with just Scott Bain, we went out and signed Joe Hart's replacement, a good keeper. What would you think of David Marshall being a second or third choice, because he would fill a club spot for European football?
I thought they would have done that last season, to be honest. Or this
When
season
I
coming
think
up.
it like that, I think that wouldn't be the worst idea. But is that just me thinking about playing Football Manager
As
and
long as in
doing
his
that?
contract it says that he can't play a game.
Because I think I'm
Squad
just
player means
I
squad
think I'm
player.
just looking at it for the Football Manager aspect of things, where I'm like,
I mean, we're
Right.
getting to the point now where we're lacking
club players.
sort of
Aye.
Scottish players and things like that, but I don't know. That just seems like such a dystopian question.
I think that Celtic need to go for somebody who is proven, but I don't think that necessarily means they have to be young or old. I think it just has to be somebody that has a track record of playing football, being good, no matter where they're playing at the minute. Because we can't take a gamble.
No.
We need to sign somebody that can stop shots and win points.
Scout Belgium, scout the Dutch league, scout all these places. You know, there'll be mid-table teams that have got a good young goalkeeper that's up and coming.
Yeah.
Got to get these players before the likes of Brighton, Benfica, etc., etc. They all get the player. It's difficult because their scouting networks are so diverse and they're looking everywhere. But if you can get in ahead, maybe even spend a couple more million
Yeah.
than expected, that team would be expecting you to spend to ensure that you get that player, you know, it'll be worth it.
So you're saying scout the Dutch league, and then the scout comes back with Vasilis Barkas with a
I've seen this
skin fade
guy
on.
before. He's played against you before.
Shout out to Sideshow Bob. I'm not going to ask his questions because we've answered both of said questions. But thank you anyway. You're always appreciated, Bob. Sean says, I know it'd be a high wage, but would you take Angus Gunn? I don't think I would. I don't think he's that good.
I don't even know.
He's competent, which is what makes him look good in the
Yeah.
Scotland team, because you know you've got Liam Kelly and Xander Clark as other options. So
It wouldn't be my first choice. I think Angus Gunn is the epitome of, and this isn't me talking about you, Sean, I think goes for most people, including myself. Angus Gunn is like, I don't know any other goalkeepers, so he'll do. That's what that strikes me as.
Is Angus Gunn still playing for
Norwich, I think. No. Is he playing for Norwich?
Yeah,
he
he
is.
was on
He was on the
that
screen.
team.
earlier.
We're going to go for Angus Gunn then. That'll be the third choice.
Food question. Kieran 1888. Favourite thing to get from McDonald's, whether it's just one thing or a specific order. One item and one item only. Do you know what I tried last night for the first time, and it was disappointing as fuck? The Frank's burger.
Oh, I was just about to check out to try that.
Disappointing.
Oh dear.
Not that great. Because do you know why?
accent.
I was wondering. I was eating it. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's just not as
I just
good
love,
as
I love the McSpicy, so
But see the sauce. I was eating it and I was like, this isn't Frank's hot sauce. This doesn't taste right. It's because it's through the meal.
Aye.
I thought it was just Frank's hot sauce on it. I didn't realise it was through the meal.
To be fair, I make mine like Frank's mayo in the house.
You'll probably like it. It was nice. I would get it again.
I
But it was just
the
disappointing.
Frank's buffalo sauce and no the actual Frank's red top. But
Big Mac's my answer. That's that.
Nuggets.
No nuggets. Okay.
I love the chips as well. I love McDonald's chips.
Aye.
pre-COVID spicy chicken snack wrap, I will die on this.
Pre-COVID spicy chicken nuggets as well. They were class.
The
Bring them
first
back.
time they were shit. The second time they were good.
Right.
Aye.
But
I thought they changed them up a
honestly,
bit.
the spicy chicken snack wrap, that thing haunts
You should
my
start a
dreams,
podcast
man.
for that to bring it
Honestly.
back.
Can I change my answer, please?
Go on. Well,
A
Kieran.
cheeseburger of any type.
Oh, right,
A
okay.
triple cheeseburger especially.
Nah, triple's too much.
I've never went the full hog.
You not?
No,
Da-
I've-
double-
doubles.
double's good.
Double's
Actually,
perfect.
I might just
Fuck me,
conform.
Ryan.
I know. I'm panicking.
It's not like you've got Ronald McDonald isn't able to burst in the room with a fucking gun.
Angus gun. Nah, I'll probably just stick with the nuggets, to be honest.
Bring back the wraps for our Kieran, because he's been going on about it for years now. Will Seth turn on Cody? No yet.
Eventually.
No yet. Favourite fizzy ginger? If it's no Pepsi Max, you're wrong. That's from Beam.
Lout.
Oh, aye.
now known
Yes.
as
Oh my God.
pineapple.
Second part of this is
grapefruit.
amazing.
Yes, I go with Lout as well. What are you going for? Favourite fizzy drink?
Fizzy drink. Monster.
Knew it was coming. Knew it was coming.
I need it, but I also enjoy the taste.
Yeah. Nathan says, in honour of Joe Hart leaving,
Love the second half
what's
of
the
this.
best and worst goalkeeping performance you've seen from a Celtic keeper? Christ.
Worst is easy.
Worst for me is Craig Gordon. That night he decided to pay off.
Balkans versus West Ham.
I was going to say that.
That's probably up there actually.
Be a pro
Aye.
keeper. Probably too far.
Best is just any performance by Artur Boric ever, and it's as simple as that.
And best. Oh, right. And best. I thought you said the rest.
Well, Fraser Forster, obviously.
No, like obviously you've got Barcelona, but also that League Cup final.
Yeah,
Just as good.
2019.
Yeah, that's right. Right, also, since McGinlay ate none of the food last week, made a list just for him to
I
rank.
like all of these. Oh my God, he's got me spot on.
This is
that my brother? No.
you as a
My brother's
person.
called Nathan.
This is you as a person. Tea biscuits, ready salted crisps, plain toast, and dry cereal.
I like them all. But I like toast with a wee bit of
So,
butter.
just to clarify, Kieran, last week we got asked, what would you drop, pick 3 of the 5. Donuts, muffins, cookies, yum yums, and I think it was chocolate eclairs. McGinley took none. But he's sitting here saying he'd take dry cereal and plain fucking toast.
Dry cereal, yes. Cheerios.
What is wrong with you, boy?
What's right?
Quit.
Ready salted crisps. My
You won't take a
favourite
donut.
flavour.
You won't take a donut.
Glazed. Can't be arsed with it. Like I said, in Bucks Bar, they gave me a glazed bun.
Oh no, that's stinking at a Bucks Bar. To be fair,
I-
the buns
there
are
needs to be-
horrendous.
there
They're
needs to be
sticky
a-
as fuck.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's a donut.
Tea biscuits, I do like them. Not
I
not
like tea
chocolate, Not a
biscuits.
chocolate digestive, just a McVitie's.
I like a tea biscuit.
Plain toast, I can't subscribe to that. You need some butter, some Lurpak.
Butter.
Butter. Ready salted Palm Bales, ready salted Walkers. Although I do like Quavers recently.
Secret
Ready
help, boy.
salted. What other
Hey,
ready
rank, fucking hell, pick them. We'll rank them quick.
Rank them. Oh
Ah,
my
well, is that
God.
what he said? Aye, rank them. From top to bottom.
So ready salted crisps at the top.
Right.
Tea biscuits,
Right.
dry cereal, plain toast, because I wouldn't have plain toast. Cheers, guys.
Jesus God. Jai Gray in the middle of this, Kieran. Do you think we'll have a major goalkeeper problem for a couple of years? Hopefully fucking
I
not.
really hope not. I
That's
can't be
from
fucked with
Richard.
that.
Aye. Liam says the return, the Kieran return is today. Loves that.
This is the day.
This is the day. Has Ryan F recovered from the news about Joe Hart yet? No, I haven't. David Turnbull, who would you like to see? I've done that one. Sorry, David. Should we keep Joe Hart as a coach? He won't. He looks as though he's gone back down the road with his family. Who's your list to go on? But we'll do that towards the end of the season. Sorry, Duff. What am I going to wank over now? Says Ski Bowl McGrath.
What Ryan is this?
Yeah,
it's
we're talking
probably
about Joe Hart.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's gone. And Joshy finally says, would you have taken the 10 in a row if it meant not getting 2 seasons under Ange?
No, absolutely not. I'd do it all over again to get Ange's 2 seasons.
Would you, Kieran?
Okay, I don't know.
I kind of would want the 10, I'm not going to lie. But at the
Not
same-
in those circumstances.
it's just I don't care. Fuck, it's in the past. It didn't happen.
Just a number,
We've got a
innit?
time machine,
Just a
have I?
number.
Right. Anyway, that's that done. That's the question. So thank you, everybody, which means we move on to our final segment of the episode to wrap us up today. It is the full-time quiz, which has been last-minute prepped by none other than Kieran Sellik. So shout out to him.
And there'll be another winner today.
What a guy.
A different winner today. 'Cause it's usually
and,
me.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
Fucking hell.
It's true though.
Right, Ryan, take it away.
Very last minute quiz, says Kieran. Thanks again.
Sorry,
I'll
Kieran.
send that money over to you in a wee bit. Apologies, the quality is shite tonight, lads, but I've been under the cosh like Celtic on a European away night. Since it's last minute, I've tried to pull a last minute winner quiz out my arse. So yeah, so who are we deciding who goes first?
Kieran can go first because he wasn't here in our host last week.
Say A or say B?
I'll go B.
B, so you'll go
Keep
first.
up appearances.
Right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Player A. Who assisted Massimo Donati's winner against Shakhtar Donetsk in 2007?
I watched this goal no long ago, you know that, and I can't fucking remember. Oh, that's going to annoy me. I actually had it on.
Who assisted Massimo Donati's winner against Shakhtar Donetsk in 2007?
I'm not sitting here all day trying to rake my brains because it won't come back to me, so...
Okay.
Aidan McGeady.
Correct.
Oh, yes, I had a gut feeling.
Oh, your gut is correct. Player B, Kieran, who took the shot saved by Dida that Scott McDonald scored the rebound off of in our 2007 win v AC Milan?
The guy that slapped him across the face.
I actually don't know. I feel like I was watching like a compilation of the Champions League goals no long ago, but I fucking never pay attention to.
Aye.
I'll read the question
Attention to the
again.
rebound.
Who took the shot saved by Dida that Scott McDonald scored the rebound off of in our 2007 win versus AC Milan?
I don't know. I'll go Donati.
Gary Caldwell.
Oh,
Player A, this is to go 2-0 up.
This is huge.
Pressure
not been in
point.
this position in a while.
Who did Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink put the ball past to keep Celtic in the title race in 2008 versus Rangers?
Right, now this is a good question because straight away you want to go and jump towards Alan McGregor, but I have a feeling it might be Neil Alexander because of the whole Boozegate situation, so I'm going to go Neil Alexander.
And you-
He fucked his ankle saving Scott McDonald's penalty.
So he did. So Neil Alexander though?
That is correct.
Yes.
Neil Alexander, 2-0
Yes, that's right, so he did.
to 1-1-8. Kieran, this is to go to bring a goal back,
2-1.
basically 2-1. What was the final score when Stephen McManus won the game at Tynecastle on New Year's Day 2006?
Oh,
I have no idea.
thanks for setting it, Kieran.
Set me is fucking stinking. 2006.
New Year's Day 2006, that would be the 2006-7 season. This was when Hearts were title contenders. I remember this. I remember looking this up.
Would it not be 5-6 if it was New Year's Day 2006?
Aye, would have been.
Yeah, correct. Actually, I
See, is that season I've got on DVD? Did you ever have the Untouchables DVD? And what is the question? Scoreline?
What was the final score? I think it was George Burley that was in charge of Hearts at that point in time.
Okay, I don't know. 3-2.
Correct. What an answer.
What a dick.
2-1. Player A. This is to go 3-1 up.
Go on then, lad.
Who assisted Tom Rogic for his screamer versus Kilmarnock in 2016 under Ronnie Dyler?
I'm not going to sit here all day because I can't remember. Neil Beaton.
Callum McGregor.
Bastard. It was a
Player
centre
B
mid.
to equalise how the turns have tabled. Who assisted Tom Rogic for his invincible treble cup winner versus Aberdeen in 2017?
This is what I was hoping for when you started the question.
Mikael Lustig.
Stuart Armstrong.
Yes, it was.
Lustig won the ball, but
Yep.
I
And then
something
it
in my head was saying Armstrong.
No,
but
it was Armstrong.
Just as a
That's
bit of
what
an
I was
aside.
hoping for.
Did Stuart Armstrong get man of the match? He probably should have.
Fuck knows.
Does he get the goal, the equaliser and the assist?
Aye.
Player A. This is to go 3-1 again.
3-1 again.
Yeah. Matt O'Reilly scored a last gasp winner at Fir Park this season.
Yes.
Who sent in the cross?
Oh, well, that's a good
No,
question.
you're wrong.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's a really good question. Oh God, I'm not once. I just for the sake of the viewers, no sitting screaming at me and getting annoyed at me taking all day. I'm just going to go ahead and say, did it come in for the left or the right? Oh, Greg Taylor.
Correct.
Yes.
3-1 to Fitzsimons. Player B, Gustav Lagerbielke's winner versus Feyenoord was assisted by which player?
Who fucking knows?
You were there, I wasn't.
I know. It's just forgettable.
It's a 90th minute win on Europe.
It was in between defeat. It
Was
was
a
to
fucking-
Kilmarnock and then
We might have won, but it's fucking
know.
pointless.
Aye.
I don't actually know. Did he think that it was a corner? Was it just a cross? Fucking wiped that game from my memory.
It's a great assist. It's a great assist to Lagerbielke.
No clue. Alistair Johnson.
Matt O'Reilly.
That means I've won it. Yes! Right, go last questions.
Player A,
Yeah.
to consolidate your win.
To get 4 out of 5, I'd be
4 out of 5, that's a good record. Georgios Samaras
My
was
guy.
assisted, I'd get this, was assisted by who for his comeback winner versus Aberdeen in a 4-3 victory? Which I would think
I was there and no, I remember I was sitting at that end when he scored it.
really, I remember this one.
I remember the goal.
Oh, the overheater.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Because I remember Adam Matthews scored really early that day. Was it Matthews that scored early? I think it was. But who would have assisted it? I can't remember for the life of me, so I'm just going to go for Chris Commons.
Calum.
Celtic's Tunisian hitman Lassad
I would
put the
never-
header
nah,
back in.
you
That's
could
one of
have-
those. That's one of
You
those
could have
ones that
sat me here to the end of the
Aye.
fucking week and I'd never have said him.
Player B.
No, he's not
Take it
one.
a wee bit closer. In our last minute winner game against Dundee United in Ange's second season, what was the final score? I'll read it again.
3-1.
No. In our last minute winner game against Dundee United in Ange's second season, what was the final score? The correct answer would have been 4-2 Celtic. I think that was Abada scored at the end.
I think so.
Remember Abada?
Remember.
The
Well,
tiebreaker would have been, according to Wikipedia, which is always a reliable source, how many goals in competitive games have Celtic scored in the 80th minute onwards this season?
don't care. 1. I don't know. 9. No, 14.
13.
17. So we would have won that as well. But we've got the winner. The winner is Ryan Fitzsimons. How are you feeling? Who would you like to thank?
Dusty Rhodes and
Yeah.
the American Nightmare. Thank you.
Both.
Both of them. Yeah. Both. And Gold Dust. Don't forget about Gold Dust. That's us then. Thank you, ladies and gents, for tuning in. God knows what state of affairs we'll be in when we're next year. Kieran, I'm sure you're looking forward to it.
Oh, buzzing.
Ryan, I'm sure you're looking forward to it as well.
Of course.
Yes. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking part. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow the account on Twitter to keep up with the questions, etc. And we'll see you all next time.